Oh, hello there. I'm Bilchan.
I'm Nimikung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 1, Section 4 of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
As.
Ah.
The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Author Conan Doyle. Chapter 1, Section 4. They had driven him home a dozen times from Serpentine Mews. I knew all about him. When I had listened to all they had to tell, I began to walk up and down near Brownie Lodge once more, and to think over my plan of campaign. This Godfrey Norton was evidently an important factor in the matter. He was a lawyer. That sounded ominous. What was the relation between them? And what the object of his repeated visits? Was she his client? His friend? Or his mistress? If the former, she had probably transferred the photograph to his keeping. If the latter, it was less likely. Odd. Or turn my attention to the gentlemen's chambers in the Temple. It was a delicate point, and it widened the field of my inquiry. I fear that I bore you with these details, but I have to let you see my little difficulties. I am following you closely, I answered. To Brownie Lodge. And a gentleman sprang out. He was a remarkably handsome man. Dark, aquiline, a mouse that could divide only the men of whom I had heard. He appeared to be in a great hurry. Shouted to the cabman to wait. Who was thoroughly at home. He was in the house about half an hour, and I could catch glimpses of him in the windows of the sitting room, pacing up and down, talking excitedly, and waving his arms. Of her I could see nothing. Presently he emerged, looking even more flurried than before. As he stepped out to the cab, he pulled a gold watch from his pocket and looked at it earnestly. "Drive like the devil," he shouted. First to Gross and Henke's in Regent Street, and then to the Church of Street, Monica in the Edgware Road. Away they went. Up the lane came a neat little landau, the coachman with his coat only half buttoned, and his tie under his ear, while all the tags of his harness were sticking out of the buckles. It hadn't pulled up before she shot out of the hall door and into it. I only caught a glimpse of her at the moment, but she was a lovely woman, with a face that I might die for. "The Church of Street, Monica." "John," she cried. "This is quite too good to lose." "What, son?" I was just balancing whether I should run for it, or whether I should perch behind her landau when a cab came through the street. The driver looked twice at such a Chevy bear, but I jumped in before he could object. "The Church of Street, Monica," yesterday. To 12. And of course it was clear enough what was in the wind. My cabby drove fast. I don't think I ever drove faster, but the others were there before us. When I arrived, I paid the men and hurried into the church. Surpliced clergyman, who seemed to be expostulating with them. They were all three standing in a knot in front of the altar. Church. Suddenly, to my surprise, the three at the altar faced round to me. and Godfrey Norton came running as hard as he could towards me. "Thank God," he cried. "Aloud. Come." "What then?" I asked. "Come. And come. Only 3 minutes." I was half dragged up to the altar, in my ear, and vouching for things of which I knew nothing, and generally assisting in the secure tying of Barry Adler, spinster, to Godfrey Norton. It was all done in an instant. Thought, while the clergyman beamed on me in front. It was the most preposterous position in which I ever found myself in my life, and it was the thought of it that started me laughing just now. It seems that there had been some informality about their license, that the clergyman absolutely refused to marry them without a witness of some sort. Streets in search of a best man. The bride gave me a sovereign. "This is a very unexpected turn of affairs," said I. "Well, I found my plans very seriously menaced. It looked as if the pair might take an immediate departure, and so necessitate very prompt and energetic measures on my part. At the church door, however, we separated, he driving back to the temple, and she to her own house. Left him. I heard no more. They drove away in different directions. Some cold beef and a glass of beer, he answered. I rang the bell. I have been too busy to think of food, and I am unlikely to be busiest till this evening. By the way, Doctor, well, when I see you, landlady had provided, I must discuss it while. I eat not much time. It is nearly 5 now. They, on the scene of action, Miss Irene or Madam. Either returns from her drive at 7. You must leave that, sir. I have already arranged what is to occur. I must insist. You must not interfere, come what may. Nothing whatever. There will probably be some small unpleasantness. It will end in my being conveyed into the house. 5 minutes afterwards, the sitting room window will open. You are to watch me to throw and well. At the same time, fire. It is nothing very formidable, he said from his pocket. It is an ordinary Plymouth smoke rocket at either. And to make it self-lighting, your task is confined to that. Fun. You raise your cry of fire a number of people. You may. Then walk to the end of the street, and I will rejoin you in 10 minutes. I am to remain neutral, to get near the window, to watch you to throw in the subject, then to raise the cry of fire is excellent. I think perhaps in a few minutes in the kirk of an amiable and simple-minded nonconformist clergyman, his broad black hat, his baggy trousers, his white tie, smile and general look of prying and benevolent curiosity was such as Mr. John Hare alone could have equalled. Costume, his expression, his manner, every fresh part that he assumed. The stage lost. A fine actor, a science lost an acute reasoner when he became a specialist in crime. Was 6:15 when we left Baker Street. 10 minutes to the hour when we found ourselves in Serpentine Avenue. Already dusk. Down in front of Brownie Lodge, waiting for the coming of its occupant. The house was just such as I had pictured it from Sherlock Holmes. Succinct description, but the locality appeared to be less private than I expected. Contrary, for a small street in a quiet neighbourhood, it was remarkably animated. There was a group of shabbily dressed men smoking and laughing in a corner. A sister's grinder with his wheel, 2 guardsmen who were flirting with a nurse girl. To be continued.